So when we talk about the inverted row, there's several things we need to talk about. We got to talk about bar height, we got to talk about grip width, we got to talk about what we're doing with our feet, we got to talk about overhand to underhand grip, and so we have a couple things to cover. So we're going to start with the bar height. The higher the bar, the easier it's going to be. The lower the bar goes, the more parallel with the floor you're going to be, and the more weight you're going to have to pull, it gets harder. And so set up the bar at a height in which you can achieve the reps that we want with full range of motion. Now, full range of motion here is going to mean roughly chest touching the bar, and not just any part of your chest, the lower part of your chest. I don't want us pulling with the bar up high above the collarbone or in the neck. We want to target our lower chest to the bar with our elbows slightly tucked, which you'll see in a minute. And so we're going to have our hands roughly set at shoulder width or just outside. We'll talk overhand, underhand in a second. Step underneath the bar, and we are going to use straight legs, or as straight as you can while feeling stable. And so as straight as you can while feeling stable. Lean back and pull your bottom of the chest to the bar. Bottom of the chest to the bar, elbows slightly tucked. Now, when we talk about which grip to use, overhand, underhand, should I use my Angles 90? If you own Angles 90, I'd really like you to use them. Having that neutral grip is going to be really nice and really comfortable. If you don't have Angles 90, you can use a pair of D handles like I have here, and you can just kind of let them sit at roughly shoulder width. And then as you get underneath the bar, you can have that nice neutral grip. Now, if you're using Angles 90 or the D handles, your chest is not going to touch the bar, and so just pay attention to making sure you're using full range of motion, going all the way down, pulling up as high as you can. Now, when it comes to progression, your number one form of progression is going to be lowering the bar as you can complete the high end of the rep range with full range of motion. So if I have you doing 8 to 12 reps, if you're doing sets of 12 full range of motion and you need a form of progression, bring the bar lower. So I'll show you an example of what that looks like. Right now the bar is roughly just below chest height for me. We're going to bring it down a couple notches and you'll see how that makes it harder. Now again, if you don't have Angles 90 or the D handles here, and you're deciding between overhand and underhand grip, I do not care which one you use. I want you to use whichever one feels more comfortable to you. Chances are, if you try both, one of them will feel more comfortable than the other. Please go with that one. Now, taking a look at a lower bar position, what that's going to look like, again, I want my legs to be as straight as possible, and I want to aim the bottom of my chest to the bar. As you can see, it's much harder that way. If you guys are getting to this position where your body at full extension, your back is almost touching the floor and you're still maxing out the reps and you need to make it harder, the next step for you will be elevating your feet on a bench, and so let's take a look at what that looks like. Now, if you get to doing that for the high end of the rep range and you still need more weight, you can do one of two things. You can start adding a pause at the top, which I promise will make it extremely difficult, or you can have somebody rest a plate on your chest and you can go ahead and do the reps that way. And so your first form of progression is going to be lowering the bar until you get to a point where I am here, where your back is almost touching the ground at full range of motion, or at full extension at the bottom. And if you still need to make it harder, start by adding a pause at the top. And if you still need to make it harder, meaning if you're still doing the top end of the rep range, even by adding a pause at the top on all your reps, you could have somebody add a plate on your chest, or you can look in the exercise description for the swaps.